A prospect visit is when one of our safety and risk consultants visits with a prospective policyholder for the purpose of performing a risk assessment. The term risk assessment is thrown around quite a bit, but our assessments are designed to efficiently document who the risk is, their basic operations, their class fit, basic employment practices, hazards and applicable controls that they may have in place, claims management processes, and we're also there to determine the effectiveness of their safety and health programs. And it's important to note here that a big part of our assessment process is direct observations of the operations. We want to make sure and get our eyes on the work that's being done. We like to say that the best validation is observation. So we're there not only to document what policies and procedures that they may have on paper, but also what practices and behaviors that they have out in the workplace. There are some class codes that require an SRS prospect risk assessment prior to quoting, and that list is largely driven by high hazard industries where ensuring that they have good claims management, good safe work practices in place is absolutely vital for us, MEM, as an organization to help control some of our major loss drivers. So then the underwriters will also weigh in the balance premium size, the nature of the business, any loss trending that might be indicative of significant deficiencies in their safety programs or uncontrolled hazards out there. And then we also have our core underwriters who will oftentimes use an Excel-based tool called the Decision Matrix to help them to quantify and objectively determine if requesting a prospect risk assessment is warranted or not. The purpose of a prospect visit really gets at one of my favorite topics, which is the value that SRS brings to the table. And in the scope of the prospect assessment, that value is really directed towards two parties. The first one, and most obvious of which, is MEM, and our underwriters use our risk assessments to aid them in the quoting process. So our risk assessments do a very good job of accurately documenting who the risk is, what they do, how they do it, what precautions they have in place, so that our underwriters can then provide not only an informed quote, but as competitive a quote as possible. And then SRS also benefits from this process in that if we end up writing that business, we already know what their deficiencies are, what recommendations that we might want to issue, or what service plans that we could deploy, so that if we actually write that business, we can hit the ground running on servicing the account. And then during the visit itself, we're always looking for opportunities to highlight to the prospect the MEM various programs, offerings, and services to maximize the probability of landing that business. And then the second recipient of that value is a little less obvious, a little less visible, and that's the actual prospective policyholder themselves. Whenever we go into these visits or any other visit, be they with a policyholder or a non-policyholder, we're always looking for opportunities to service those folks while we're there on site. So, for example, if we're visiting with a prospect, doing a prospect risk assessment, and we determine that they do not have a seatbelt policy, we will oftentimes have a hard copy with us that we can provide to them, or we might take them to our website and show them how they can navigate it and find a sample policy, be it seatbelts or any other subject that may have come up. Or if we're out on the production floor and we see a machine that's not properly guarded, we're not just going to document that in our risk assessment. We're going to take the time to talk to them about it, what the deficiency is, why it's important that it's addressed, and what are some possible strategies for them to go about doing that. So at the end of the day, we want anybody that chooses to spend their time with us, be they policyholders or not, to have benefited from doing so.